Welcome to Generation Zero Explores Drinking Water. Here in New York City, we have some of the best drinking water on the planet, but it's not like that all over the world. We sent Peter Carnival to Ashokan Reservoir to interview Matt Mahoney to find out what New York City does right and learn how the best tap water in the world gets delivered.
Here we are on the Catskills at the Ashokan Reservoir, and this reservoir feeds most of New York City with fresh, clean water. We called out with Matt Mahoney, who works for Suez. Suez is a company that provides water for over 92 million people. What can my generation do about water conservation?
Well, you're already doing some of it right now. You have a water bottle, a reusable water bottle, and that's really one of the keys. Become a conservationist all to yourself. So bottled water, you can pay anything from $1 to $3 for a bottle of water, but your average cost of tap water is about a penny a gallon across the United States. So there's a real drop-off there in terms of price and in terms of value. It's just not efficient at all to bottle and truck water places. And I think that the convenience factor is something that cities have sort of missed the train on. People want to make a healthier choice, and water is always the healthier choice than bottled soda or juices or anything like that, sugary drinks. So in that sense, people are making a positive choice for their life, but they're making a negative choice for the environment when they buy bottled water. So what can cities do? I think the answer really, what cities and governments can do, is a lot more what they do in Europe, where there are a lot of public fountains that are available to drink. So if you walk through Rome, for example, there's public fountains everywhere, filled with great tap water that comes out, and it has to be accessible. In New York City, I helped create a program called Water on the Go, and it's still in existence today after about 5 years since its inception. And Water on the Go are public mobile water fountains that go to areas where there are going to be a lot of New Yorkers and tourist places like Times Square, Herald Square, Union Square, and as well as big outdoor events and festivals that go on throughout the city. And that allows people to come up free of charge and fill up their water bottle, reusable water bottles, and get some clean, fresh New York City tap water. And that's a great way of highlighting tap water that cities can do all across the country. And I think New York City has some unique qualities to it. And the thing that makes it that way is really the source waters up in the Catskill Mountains. It's sort of this pristine land, 130 miles north of the city, and it's conveyed by two giant aqueducts, the Catskill and the Delaware Aqueduct, that come down to the city. And that water has just the right taste and just the right acidity, produces some of the best breads in the world, some of the best pizza and bagels in the world, and people go nuts for it. And people often try to emulate that when you're outside the city, that their water is like New York City water, or that their food is made with New York City water in some cases. I'm not sure how they do that. But if you look at our shoreline especially, you see countless bottles, bags, garbage and trash put in there. I think that there's really a lack of understanding that water is really a cycle. And the water that's in the ocean is eventually the water that you drink through condensation and the entire water cycle. And that's missed a lot of people. So I think there's a lack of education on it. And I think it's something that also needs to be taken more seriously by the authorities. I think that there's sort of always people sort of turn a blind eye to illegal dumping and getting rid of trash in the waterways, and it's really a shame.
When New York City's population exploded in the early 1900s, New York was already an economic and political powerhouse. They had the foresight to know that an abundant source of drinking water would be key to New York's future. What about today, though? In an age of unlimited corporate political contributions, what if you're a politically and economically weak community and you're trying to protect your own drinking water? We interviewed Lance King, a Dakota tribal leader fighting to protect the drinking water of his people.
We can't live without water. We just can't. Horses were abundant back then, so everybody would just ride, and they'd be generous enough to let you ride the horse too. So you'd be riding around for a little bit, having fun, and just not having a care of anything. And it was somewhat like you got that feeling of how it might have been back in the 1800s. Why would you want to live? Why would you want to live something different?
Rise like the water, we're gonna face this crisis now. I hear the voice of my great-granddaughter saying, shut this pipeline down.
Bring it up a little bit.
The people gonna rise like the water, we're gonna face this lifeline now. I hear the voice of my great-granddaughter.
For life! For life! We ride! We ride! For our brothers! For our brothers! In our sisters! In our sisters! We ride! We ride! For our people! For our people! We ride! We ride! For water! For water! For life! For life!
Apparently the pipeline was originally supposed to go through Bismarck, above Bismarck and over. And well, the people of Bismarck said no, like they didn't want that because of the chance of leakage and breaking of a pipeline. So they rerouted it down further under Bismarck to where if anything would burst or whatever, then it wouldn't be in their water or whatever. So that's where it really hit, the tribes. So I just looked over to these guys and I said, my name is Lance King, remember me? And I just went forward. I didn't know if anything was going to happen, but I wasn't, you can't trust, you know what I mean? At that point, at that time, anything was possible. So I just told them my name, and I walked forward, and I went to the bridge and spoke to the people, and they were, eventually, it was pretty intense because the guy had his hand on his gun, when I was standing there, and I was just, again, that's what, I didn't know if anything was going to happen, but I knew that I had to go there because that's why I went there, was to show my support, physically and spiritually, and if that's what was going to happen, that was what was going to happen. And I got to say that right there was probably because based on the past experiences of what I've seen them shoot the protectors with was the water cannons, the rubber bullets, and you didn't know you have no idea if you're going to get shot, when you're going to get shot. Life is based on happiness, love, sharing, helping, kindness, growing, teaching, and you can't do any of that without water.
Lance and his Native American and environmentalist allies lost their fight to keep the pipeline from their watershed. Oil industry supporters argue the economic benefit of extracting Canadian shale oil supersedes the water concerns of the Sioux tribes.
As witnessed by water crises in Flint, Michigan, southern India, the Ganges, and the Niger Delta, healthy, clean water for everyone requires a strong sense of community and stewardship, but it also requires political will and resources. Here in New York City, we're blessed to have all these things. So next time you come here, bring one of these and don't look like a tourist.